Welcome to the Module 1 final project. In this short video, I just want to run you through some of the requirements. Firstly, congratulations on getting this far. You're at the end of the first module, and the goal now is to prove that you have mastered the material in the first 12 sections. So, what are we going to be doing? Well, we're going to be asking you to take everything you've learned about importing data, doing exploratory data analysis, and then selecting features and model training and tuning by doing a linear regression on house price data for Kings County. We're going to require two key deliverables, because as a data scientist, it's not just about being able to do data science, it's about being able to persuasively share your results with business stakeholders. So the first and most important deliverable is going to be a short keynote PowerPoint Google Slides presentation that you're going to use to give a short 5-minute presentation telling a business stakeholder why they should trust you, a little bit of information about the way you've worked with the data, and the recommendations that you've gleaned from your analysis. And then the second and also important part is we're going to be looking for a well-documented Jupyter notebook that then during the project review, your instructor will be able to ask you questions about and confirm that you have met the requirements of the project and that you understand what you're doing with the exploratory data analysis and then with the modeling. It's important to realize the starting point is you just, as with any other lab that you do on Learn, is you want to fork and then clone the repository locally, so you make your own copy of this Module 1 final project repo, and then once you've got your fork on GitHub, you're going to clone that down to your local machine, and there are two files you're going to have to create. The first one is you want to take the student.ipynb, so the student Jupyter notebook, and put all of your working in there, and then when you're done and you're ready to share your conclusions, put together a PDF of the slide presentation you've put together. It's important to have reasonable expectations about how we're going to work with this. We don't expect you to be a professional data scientist. You don't necessarily need to have highly predictive results. It would be great if you did, but that's not the primary goal here. The primary goal is to make sure that A, you can follow instructions. So we provide very specific requirements in the project review. Please look at every single one. If you miss any of those, you will be failed and you're going to have to do the project review again after filling them in. So please take the time to be precise and to make sure you meet all the requirements. Above and beyond that, we're just looking to see that your final presentation, your Jupyter notebook, and your ability to explain the decisions you made in the Jupyter notebook are consistent with somebody who has been learning data science for the last few weeks and is starting to get a grasp on linear regression. There are many things about linear regression we haven't taught you up to this point in the course. You're going to be learning much more about model tuning and so many other elements of this over the rest of the course. So don't worry too much about getting things perfect. If you've got a question that was not answered anywhere in our materials, then it probably doesn't matter which side of the question you go, you're not going to be failed for making a choice based on information we've not yet provided you with. But we do want to make sure that you're thoughtful about what you've done. So, for example, if we look at some of the requirements, I'm going to slide down here. You must have a notebook, should be well organized, visualizations and EDA. So your project contains at least 4 meaningful data visualizations. You need to be able to pick things that you learned something from. So don't just throw in 4 random visualizations and say, well, I got 4 plots. It's important to take a little bit of time to make sure that you choose visualizations that help you to answer questions about the structure of the material and allow you to improve the quality of your analysis. Equally, we're going to be looking at the model quality and approach. And so in addition to the technical presentation requirements, the stuff that needs to be in your Jupyter notebook, there are also some specific requirements for the non-technical presentation. The most important thing to realize is we want you to succeed. We're only going to ask you to retake this or to work on it a little more if it's clear that either you didn't meet the specific rubric, it's right here, it says requirements, this section outlines the rubric we'll use to evaluate your project. We're not kidding, we literally have a list of those things and go through and check them when we are doing the project review. So make sure that you meet the rubric, and then also demonstrate that you have reasonably understood and mastered the materials we've covered so far. We don't expect perfection, we don't expect necessarily high degrees of prediction. You may not even select the perfect features or use the right visualizations. But what we do expect you to do is show a good faith effort to take the materials that you've learned over the last 12 sections and to show that you can present based on those materials and that you can answer technical questions about your content. Looking forward to seeing you on a project review.